Happy New Year, FlossTube. Today is January 1st, 2020. And if you're coming to my channel for the first time, my name is Shelly, but my channel name is Oh My Ada. And this is a channel dedicated solely to cross stitch. I am new to this, and if you need a drink, go ahead and grab a drink. I know you can pause. If you need to use the restroom, you go for it. I'm going to talk about my plans from 2019 and moving into 2020. So let's start with the patterns I can think of that I'm finishing. I'm not going to show these again. You can go back in my floss tubes and just look at floss tube 7, which is my previous one. And the first work that I'm going to continue is my hate. So many books, so little time. Now, as you know, this is going to be a long time to create, and I think I'll be able to put in about 3 or 4 months on it, because during my work season it's a little bit more difficult to work on. Although I do admire Cheryl McKinney and her 30 minutes a day. I'm not part of that group that's been closed, but I really do like that concept and that idea that you can do a lot over time and you don't have to do everything all in one day. So my Hade is definitely going to get some love. I did start 2 ornaments, and I love Christmas and Christmas cross stitch, so I'll definitely finish those 2. They're Mill Hill bead kits, and I did all the cross stitching, but I didn't get a chance to do the beadwork. Or maybe I just, wasn't really into the beadwork at that point. So I would like to keep those going for 2020 so that I can share those with family and friends in Christmas time. In FlossTube 7, I had told you that I was going to finish my whip, Baby It's Cold Outside, and I did not finish it. So this is where I'm at. You can see my needle minder. It's Alice in Teacups. But I did get the inside of this cup or mug finished, and now I just need to get the inside here finished. I will do that, but I'm not a fan of huge blocks of color. I thought I would be. Who knew? And so I'm a little annoyed by this because it's all one color, but I will get it done. And the reason I chose to work on Baby It's Cold Outside before I worked on Joyful Teddy is because right in the foam or whipped cream in this area that I'm showing you or pointing to you, it's going to have French knots. Right now, I feel confident that I can do French knots. And what you see down here, I told you in FlossTube 7 that all the lettering I did in DMC Light Effects, and I hated it. But as I hold it up and I move it different directions, you can't see where the light effects tore the actual fabric. And the fabric is 25 count Lugana dark chocolate. Picture this plus. So I do like the fabric. I do like the stitching now that I see that it looks fine. And when I'm tired or exhausted after grading papers, I'll go in and I'll fill this in with a single color. I am railroading my stitches, and I really enjoy that because I'm stitching 2 over 1. And I love the idea of railroading, even though it's 25 count linen, not linen, 25 count Lugana. Railroading is my jam. And it's not because I have to. It's because I enjoy the final product, even though no one will ever notice when they're standing 5 feet away from this. This is a gift that will be given to my mother, and she's already cleaning up the Christmas tree and the Christmas ornaments in her house. So I'll go ahead, and I really like the circular frame. So I'm probably going to get a wooden frame from Michael's and finish it and lace up the back. I just need to center this a little bit better. It's almost there. It needs a little more love. So this will get the love it needs in 2020 to finish it. The reason that I decided to use light effects in this pattern when it didn't call for it is because in my Joyful Teddy, they use Krynic and they use French knots and they use beads. And so I did want to get a feel for that and some practice. And the number one tip I can give you when using light effects is only use one strand because it tore right through the Lagana. Then I have my final 2019 start that I worked on last night. And this is a linen and threads sal stitch along. And what I had the most trouble doing was coming up with a fabric and a thread or floss. So this is Berry Blast in 18 count Aida. You can't see the purples in there very well. Let's see if I can open it up. No, this lighting doesn't do it justice. And so this was my favorite combination here. And I really wanted to do it, but I would have only had an inch on each side. And if I'm going to frame it, I don't want an inch. I want more than that. And I don't know if I'm going to frame it or not because they're only releasing one part of the pattern each month. And I don't know if I'll like it enough to frame it. But I was using DMC 4518. And I did find another, yuck, there we go. I did find another fabric that works with this, and it's 32 count. The problem again is I bought a piece, I'm starting to be more frugal because I was buying half yards of all the fabric, and I don't need that much fabric. But then I went down to an eighth, and an eighth doesn't give me enough room to do these larger projects. So this count, ooh, yuck, this count was definitely out the 18 because I need more than an inch. I went through my fabrics and I did settle for this one for the Lakeside, nope, for the linen and threads mystery sal. And this is all stitched 1/1 with the same DMC thread that I just showed you. 4-1, nope, 5-4-5-1-8. And I think this is going to be brilliant. The fabric, maybe this will draw some of the greens out. And I've never used 32 count before. And it did have a slight learning curve. Don't judge me. I am going to do this pattern 1/1. And you just saw the amount that I got done. And I love the way it's turning out. The one problem I have with the 1/1 is the thread keeps getting tangled and knotted. And I'm used to that with 2 strands, but with 1 strand and this 32 count linen, I am struggling a bit more. I was going to do 1/2, and I couldn't get the pattern, I couldn't get that down. And it was only when I was about 5 hours into stitching last night that I realized it. But because I like the way everything's turning out, I'm going to keep it 1/1. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's 32 count Ticho Belfast linen. And this is a picture of this plus linen. All right. If I'd gone 2/1, it wouldn't have given me a large area to frame. And so that is one of the reasons why I went with the 1/1. And I'm loving it. I don't have any trouble with that. I am not ready to give up winter. And this says, let it snow. There's no heat on this outside cup. I bought this at Joann's with the 50% off coupon, and it does hold my coffee rather warmly. Okay, so this is what I stitched on last night. Okay, so now I want to talk about plans for 2020. And in my FlossTube 7, you can go back and look. I was asking for opinions about which fabric to use. And what I realized is that I already knew which one I wanted to use before the video was over. And I don't use this term lightly because I wasn't trying to be an asshole. But that's when someone asks for advice and doesn't take it. I do like your opinions. And one thing that I realized is that if someone suggests a different fabric or a different floss, many times my reaction to that will tell me if I am on the right track or not. So if I'm really sad, someone suggests something else, it means that I liked what was on offer. And then if I'm happy with what someone else suggests, then that means I wasn't completely happy with what I had chosen. So your advice is always appreciated. It's always taken into consideration before I work on my final project or even start it. So with that being said, what I have chosen for Joyful Teddy is this 20 count white silver Lugana. And I'm going to do this 2/1. That's my favorite way to stitch on 20 count Lugana. And my Joyful Teddy is going to go on this fabric. And there you go. As I move it around, you'll see some of the sparkle. And I think this had more sparkle to it than the other fabric I was thinking about. This is a neoprene handmade bag, and I fell in love with it, and you can see it has a wide bottom so it stands tall. And I'm using this to hold my floss in it for the moment. And here is all the floss I'm going to need for Joyful Teddy. And there's quite a bit of floss, and I love it. And I don't think you're going to have enough. You're going to have enough, but there we go. Get a few sparkles in there. I don't mind the silver and the white. So I think this is my new fabric to have sparkle. And I bought this from 123 Stitch. And when I was looking for other sizes, I only saw the 20 count Lugana, but I really would like this in other count fabric. If you know where to get other count fabric, please let me know. And I'm going to come back to this neoprene bag. put it right here. See this neoprene bag? I found this at a harvest festival, and the creator, Troublemaker Bags, and you can see Mary and Charity, their owners, and troublemakersbag@gmail.com. You can get a hold of them, and they may take special orders if you want one, but they had all sizes there. They don't have any project bags because that's not their aesthetic. Um, they don't I don't know, maybe they just don't know that they can do project bags yet. So I assume that you could ask them, because the workmanship on this is beautiful. You have your little tag here, and I do love it. And I thought I was going to have to walk out without a bag at the Harvest Festival until I realized these were dragonflies, which I absolutely love. So the next item I'm going to show you, I got these on Stash Unloading, and let me show you the back. I love these red birds, and I love the snow. All right. This bag has everything I love in it. And I can keep Joyful Teddy in here, and I can separate the flosses. From the fabric. And isn't that just incredible? I love this so much. Let me pause. Final words. This is a keychain. You can get them off or from Amazon or other sites. I buy mine from AliExpress, and I really like being able to put my floss through this hole, and that's when I put them on a ring, so all the floss is together and doesn't get separated. I do like the idea of the bags, except I'm using the snack bags for it instead of buying the floss away bags. And that was just a decision that I happened to make because I realized they were the same size. And I don't need my bag to say floss away on it. I got the idea from Pam and Stephanie from Just Keep Stitching, and they went through and showed how they organized their floss in the bags, and they put an index card in them, and so that really set me off into my own pattern and way. Let me show you Joyful Teddy and get back on track. I won this from Dina Half Stitch Cross Stitch. She's out of Georgia, and this was a giveaway for 4,500 subscribers. And I told you in the last video, when I watched her show, I kept chanting, "Oh my Ada, oh my Ada, oh my Ada." And when my name was called, I was thrilled. You can see down here, it definitely is a Joan Elliott design. And I did send her a little thank you box, which also includes a Joan Elliott pattern. I told her that if the pattern wasn't to her liking, to feel free to use it in a giveaway. I've named my teddy bear Eloise. She's cisgender. Her pronouns are her, and hers. She prefers dressing as a Santa's elf or Mrs. Claus, but because someone called in sick, she was more than willing to throw on Santa's jacket and hat in order not to disappoint all the good girls and good boys. So Eloise. And I named her, and it's just stuck, and I love the name. As you can see, there is a window in the background, and that's why I'm using the sparkly fabric, so it gives the illusion of snow. On the back of the chart, I'm still having trouble with directions. You can see that it has beads and French knots, and you can also see that it requires crinock. So that is why I started with Baby It's Cold Outside, so I could practice some of those skills. And then I'll finish the 2 ornaments that I have with beads, and that'll give me some practice with beads before I get into Joyful Teddy. As I mentioned in FlossTube 7, Stephanie Miss Oh So Crafty finished this, as well as Dina Half Stitch Cross Stitch. If you have this in your stash, maybe you want to do a stitch along with me. I don't know. Joyful Eloise, SAL. Let me know if you have this and you're ready to start stitching it. All right, that would be awesome because I love meeting new people through stitch-alongs, and that's another reason why I joined Linens and Threads and their Mystery Sal. It is a Quaker, and it's dedicated to family, and they have put in places to put initials of people. Eloise is a class act, and as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to start her as my New Year's start. The next Sal that I've joined, sorry about that, I can't get it up. The next Sal that I joined is from this cross stitch calendar. And I heard about this on Sunshine Stitchers. EJ was going through her whips, and Shelia's the one that remembered the stitch along. So on the back, you have all of these options for the stitch along. And I did choose the jellyfish. I'm not sure what fabric I'll use, but Berry Blast might be the one. Berry Blast needs to be for something special. The lion, the owl, there are a lot that are tripping my switch. And I even like the seahorse. The stitch along is to choose your favorite, or maybe just choose one, and to stitch that in March. So I have the jellyfish taken care of. And this is the way I keep my patterns. And it's in the plastic, so I apologize. But I have the floss down here in the bag or pouch. And in the back, I have the peacock. And I even think the peacock would be stunning to stitch. But if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. I think the Sal is awesome, SAL, hashtag awesome Sal. And I'd love to see your progress as well. Now, throughout the year, I know I'm going to want to stitch something else. And this is a kit that I bought on Stash and Load. And what caught my attention is the saying on it. And it says, in reading this, if any faults you see, mend first your own and then find fault in me. This is an admonition sampler. And what I fell in love with was the saying. But once I looked at it, I also love that border. And so I look forward to stitching this in 2020. So this is for when I feel like I need a new start. except for the whip that I forgot to show you, which is Long Dog Samplers Rose Marquis. That's my travel piece. I definitely will finish that in 2020 because I work on that every time I go to my parents, every time I travel for work. I get quite a bit of it done. So those are my whips. It's enough to keep anyone busy because I don't have a lot of time to cross stitch. But I'm also going to stitch for stash this year. The reason I'm joining Stephanie's group is because I'm addicted to shopping for patterns. And when I'm on Stash Unload and just looking, there's so many patterns I want to buy, and I do. There are a lot that I see on FlossTube that I want to buy, so I do. The problem is I've only been doing this, or I've only been cross-stitching for 6 months. If I continue down this path, I'm going to have a stash that exceeds my life expectancy, and that's just wasteful, especially when I'm looking at patterns that I already own and I think, ooh, I should buy that. And I don't, I restrain myself, but the problem is I forget what I have, and I don't think that should happen. So what you might not know about me is that I'm single. I don't have any children. I own my own house. All my bills are paid on time. So I don't need to budget myself. I don't need to limit my purchases. But there's a difference between need and want. And I decided to join the Stitch from Stash so that I can work on patterns that I've absolutely fallen in love with through watching your channels. I did set myself up with a $25 budget per month. The reason I did that is because I'm going to start receiving Crazy Annie's Picture This Plus Fabric of the Month. I want to keep my purchases in, and I don't have to include the Crazy Annie's according to the rules, but I want to keep that as part of my budget that I spend. So really all I need to do is purchase some flosses. My favorite way to purchase floss is from Michael's, and I told you this in episode 7. What I do is I fill my cart with the floss that I want, but I don't check out. And then the next day I get an email that says, oh, hey, here's a 40% off coupon. Go purchase your floss or whatever it is that's in your cart. And I'm not going to turn down 40%. But even if I just need one floss, right now I need B5200. If I need that one floss, I can go in and use my 50% off coupon that's always on my phone. Sometimes it's 60%. I may even go to Michael's today because I have about 6 colors I need. And if I purchase those, then they may have an additional sale because it's New Year's Day. So let me show you how I've stored some of my stash, and this works for me so that it's all bundled in one area. I have binders. Right now I have 2, but it's an embarrassment. It's a gluttony, right? And so here's a rather large binder, and if you open it, let me move this. Here we go. I'm not flipping you off, I promise. So here's my first pattern, and they're in here willy-nilly. There's no organization to it. Here's Sue Hillis, Women Who Behave Rarely Make History. I mentioned I'm going to make that for a couple people. You can see all the flosses there, and it does say ready. Here is a snow globe. So I'm working on Baby It's Cold Outside. Oh, there we go, no glare. I'm working on Baby It's Cold Outside from Cross Stitcher Magazine, November 2015. This snow globe is part of that magazine as well. And it already has the fabric and the floss. Here is a chart, and I probably bought it for $1 or $2, and I added it because what's $1 or $2 more? I dislike the chicken, but the pattern is simple to repeat, so I'm just going to continue that pattern below. I bought my peace ornament from the shop in Las Vegas when I was there in October. I love this. It's ink circles and a hands-on design. It's kitted and ready. Most of the time when I say kitted, it just has flosses. It doesn't have the fabric. This is one that I was going to buy on Stash Unload again. Get this out of the way. I don't know I apologize. So it has the floss that it needs, and it's in here ready to go when I find a fabric I want to use. All right. I bought this when I was in Mesa at the attic in October because I went from, where did I go? I went from Las Vegas to Arizona on my way to New Mexico for the hot air balloon fiesta. And then I love these. I don't have all the floss yet. I wrote myself a note. I've ordered it from ABC Stitch, but they only sent me part. This is a quick one. It doesn't matter. I've got a thing for bees now, and this one here has the charm as well. And then, what to my wondering eyes should appear, but 10 extra pounds on my hip, thighs, and rear. Another one about cake. I love this one. This very well could be a new start this year. I'm missing 2 colors, and that's how I know. Now, remember, I just started 6 months ago. So what am I doing with all of these charts? Another favorite, coffee sampler. I also have her, sampler about coffee beans being a birthstone. This one, I love it. It has Krynic in it, so I can't say as I'm too thrilled about wanting to use it, but by the time I get here in October, I think, or maybe September, I'll be ready. And Krynic is in this one. I haven't set this one up. This was a freebie. I bought this off Stash Unloading. And then I have all the mandalas from the calendar. Why am I showing you all the stash? The reason is it's not all my stash. I have approximately 10 to 15 more patterns around the house that I have not added to the binder yet. I am not showing you my binders to brag, because honestly I don't think it's anything to brag about. Why I'm showing you the binder is to share with you why I have decided to stitch from stash this year. And I also explained why I set myself the $25 goal. Most of that money is going to go towards my linens, and I don't remember what count I ordered. I have a feeling it's Ada, because I love Picture This Plus Ada and the feel of it. With that, all I need to do is add fabrics and maybe some flosses, and I'm good to go. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop purchasing everything, but it's this idea in my mind that I have set myself this goal and I'm competitive. So I want to win. That means I win in two ways. One way, I save money because I'm not buying charts. But two, I don't know. I had to pause until it came back to me. So one, I'm saving money on charts. And two, I'm going to save time. And that's time that I can use to cross stitch. I can't tell you the number of hours I've spent on the internet just looking at patterns that I might want or that I could want. This will give me more time to focus on stitching, which is really what I want to do, not product accumulation. There are a few things I want. I want that Krynet cord maker. That just seems awesome. And eventually I will get it. Do I need it today? No. But my philosophy has been, no, I don't need it today, but why not buy it for when I do need it? And I've got to get out of that mentality, because just because I could use it doesn't mean I ever will. When I get closer to finishing products or projects, that's when I'll think about the cord, the braider. That is it. Those are my plans for 2020. Hopefully I join a couple more sales, because I have floss, I have fabric. That would just mean getting a chart. And there's so many free charts on the internet that if I don't have money for a chart, I can just go get a pattern that I have already downloaded and saved. With that, I want to wish you a happy, prosperous, enjoyable 2020. And I'm going to leave. And once I get this edited, I'm going to start stitching Joyful Teddy. And I'll show you my progress on that and my other whips in my next FlossTube video. So for now, happy stitching. I'm back for less than 30 seconds, but what I forgot to do was show you my orc ball. And I've decided that I'm not going to save my orcs year to year. I don't mind putting them in one location throughout the year to see what it looks like. Ultimately, I'm not one to save that. So those of you that put them in ornaments or inside of ornaments, which I love that as well, good luck and keep on stitching.